Hey guys, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm super excited to bring you another sewing tutorial. This time I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute heart zipper pouch. It just opens up just like this. And there's a cute little pouch inside. I thought it would be super fun for Valentine's Day or any time of the year really. So this is actually a free pattern from Patterns for Pirates, which is a pattern company online. And I will put a link down in the description for where you can get this free pattern. So it'll make it really quick, really easy for you if you have that printed out. It just has a couple pattern pieces that you're gonna need. And then the other supplies that you're going to need for this project are you're gonna need a 9-inch zipper. I have this metal one I'm hoping will work. It's a little bit longer than 9 inches, which is totally fine. If it's longer, we can cut it to be the length that we need, but you probably shouldn't go shorter than that or it's gonna mess up how it sits on the bag. And then I just used 2 fat quarters to cut out my pieces. So I have my outside piece for this bag, and then this is my inside piece. So I just cut out all 3 pieces that I need. And then I'm using a batting. I know for the Patterns for Pirates, when you look at her description, it actually says just to use interfacing. I liked it to be a little bit thicker. So this, you can kind of see how thick that is. That's because I used batting. So you could use batting, you could use interfacing, just like a good stable interfacing that you just iron on to your fabric, onto the wrong side of your front pieces. So you could do that, or a little piece of batting. This is just some cotton batting that I had left over from a quilt. And I just like how cozy and like, I don't know, thick of a bag it makes. It's fun. So I'm really excited about these. I think they're going to be super cute and really handy for all sorts of things. So let's get started making our heart pouch. Once you have all your pieces prepared, now I'm going to take this half of the top of the heart pieces, and I'm just going to put my batting wrong sides together just like that. And then I'm going to take my zipper and flip it over wrong sides together, and I'm just going to line it up right in the center. If it's you just kind of want each end hanging off. If you have a longer one, just kind of center it on there, and we'll cut that off later. So I'm going to center that and then pin that, and I'm just going to pin it like 2 times, because then we're actually, before we go over to our sewing machine, I'm going to take this piece and flip it so that it's right sides together and sandwiching our zipper. And then I'm going to line that straight edge up and pin all of those together. So I want all those edges to match up. And I can adjust those other 2 pins that I put in there. That was just to hold the other stuff in place. So now I'm ready to make sure all of my layers are held in place. So now I'm ready to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'll show you how we're going to stitch this down. So to stitch this in place, I'm just going to line it up right down here and put it right next to my zipper. I'm going to be sewing at about 1/4 inch, and I just kind of line it up. You don't want to stitch the zipper teeth, especially if they're metal like this. It will definitely break your needle. So just be cautious of that. If we're too far in, just go a little farther out. And I'm just going to start sewing. Once it gets on my fabric, I'm going to do a back stitch, and then I'm going to sew straight down. And again, I'm just kind of staying lined up with the edge of my presser foot, which is about 1/4 inch. I stitch all the way down, and then here's my zipper foot, and I'm just going to make sure that's tucked off to the side. So again, I don't stitch over that and break my needle. That would be bad. And I'll do a back stitch at the end. And then cut my threads. Once I have that piece sewn, I like to bring it over to my ironing board and open those pieces up and fold them just how they're going to lay and iron that. If you have a plastic zipper, make sure you do not touch the zipper teeth with your iron or you will probably melt them. I just usually go up right next to the zipper, but not on top of it. And then I like to flip it over. This is my right side. So you can see here's the top of my zipper. And then this is going to be the front of the bag. So once I have that ironed, I'm then going to take it back over to my sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch this. And top stitching is just stitching right along close to this edge. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just stitching through all my layers of the fabric again that kind of hold that in place. And that is optional, but I really like doing that when there's a zipper involved. So that way the fabric doesn't get caught in the zipper or get pulled down like this and then get caught in the zipper later on when you're using it. It just really keeps it clean and looking really nice. Here's what it looks like once I have it top stitched. So just really nice. And now I'm going to take my bottom of the heart pieces and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to take my interfacing or batting in my case, and I'm taking this zipper piece and we're putting the right sides together with our front piece. So I'm going to match this up, and this time I want to make sure I'm lining it up with the edges of the top of the heart as well. Make sure that gets lined up nicely, and then I'll place, just like I did before, place a couple pins just to make sure that stays in place. And then I'll take the polka dot, which is the lining piece, and I'm going to put it right sides together. So I'm putting it right sides together with my front piece. So I'm just going to line that up and make sure it's lined up exactly how it's going to sit on there. You can kind of look how it's sandwiched together, just like that, and then I will pin it. And then I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew it the exact same way that I sewed the top part, and iron it and do the top stitching all the exact same way. Once you have the bottom part sewn just like the top part, now we're going to finish off our zipper, and this is just to get it ready to sew all the way around it. So we're going to make sure, first of all, that our zipper piece, our zipper foot right here, is going to be on the inside, just like this, because we're going to sew it and we don't want to sew it off right here. So I'm going to make sure those pieces stay lined up so that it doesn't come apart when I need to sew it. I'm going to do that, and then I can take it over to my sewing machine and I'll show you how I'm going to stitch right along here. So now over at my sewing machine, I'm just going to line it up, and we're going to be really careful and go really slow to make sure we don't break our needle, and if we do, that's okay. But we're just going to slowly, and I like to just spin my hand wheel when I do go over the zipper teeth, so that way you can kind of see how it's not going down. So I kind of maneuver it a little bit so that it does. And then keep going. Okay, and that just keeps it so that when I cut that off, this part, the tab, isn't going to fall off. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. With those ends sewn, I can then take my scissors, and I'm just using regular scissors, and I'm just going to cut that so that it lines up with the edges of the heart. Same on this side. And there we go. Okay, now our zipper is all ready. And I'm going to leave that unzipped about 3/4 of a way, just like that. And now we are going to place the other side, not the wrong side, of our heart. So the full heart on top. And we're doing right sides together. And we're just sandwiching like we did before. Now I'm going to place my batting heart on top. And this I did cut a tiny bit smaller than these other two pieces so that the batting is more on the inside and isn't seen in our seam. And now I'm going to place this one, and this one is actually wrong sides to the batting, or interfacing if you're using interfacing, so it's going to look like this. So I have my lining fabric on the outside right now. That's what you can see. And I am definitely going to pin this because I can tell it's already shifting. When I barely move it, it's shifting. So I'm just going to place some pins around the heart so that it can be ready to sew. So with the heart pinned, I'm just gonna pick a spot and start sewing, and I'm sewing at about 1/4 inch. I'm gonna back stitch. And when I get to this point right here, I'm just gonna leave my needle down and then pick up my presser foot and pivot. So turn it and then keep sewing along. And so just kind of push my fabric around so it curves really nicely. And the same when I get to the point at the bottom. And then keep going up. Now, before I turn the heart right sides out, I'm going to clip to the stitching that I created right here. Not through it, just to it, so that way it'll open up nicely. And I did have to do some extra stitching because it came off the edge over here. And then at the point here at the bottom, I'm actually just going to trim that seam allowance right off. So it's going to be about 1/8 inch big now. And that'll just give us a really nice point. If you need to do it on this side, just make sure you're not cutting your threads or you're going to have to restitch it. Okay, so then once I have that all trimmed up, I can then take it and turn it so the right sides are out. And this is why we left our zipper open, so that we can push it to the right sides. And I'm going to make sure my rounded edges really come out nicely. So I like to just push it with my hands, with my fingers. Oh, I have a spot that needs to be resewn, so I'm going to have to go resew that. But let me just show you guys. See how that point just looks really nice. So I'm going to go resew that real quick and then show you how it turned out. Okay, and then once you've turned it right sides out, you can just zip it up and you are all done with your heart zipper pouch. So wasn't that a fun, quick little project? I'm super excited about these. I think they turned out really cute and they're just super easy, super fun, and make for a great little present, or you could even put the present inside, maybe like a little gift card or something. So just so many fun options. You could put crayons in it or makeup or so many different things. So I'm really excited with how these turned out. I hope you are too. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below in the comment section and I will try to get back to them. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.